Hey everybody, we are on a pilgrimage, heading out to a cemetery to collect cemetery dust, graveyard dirt. We're going to talk a little bit about working with cemetery dust and graveyard dirt in this video. In particular, I'm going to talk more about the way I work with it and the way I'm working with it. It is a very big topic in the world of magic, and so, when you ask 10 different practitioners what it's for and how they use it, you're probably going to get 10 answers, 60% of which have their consistencies, and then 40% each is going to be unique to that person's practice, like all things in the realm of magic. So this is just my contribution to the conversation. Now, for as long as we've had burial mounds and cemeteries and graveyards, we've had practitioners working with the dust and the dirt. And graveyard dust is used as a very powerful amplifier of any kind of work where you are looking to bring about an ending, a transition. You might be using it as an amplifier in a banishing spell, or in a hex breaker or jinx breaker. You might be using it in a hex or a jinx you might be casting on another person. You might be using it to end stories, narratives, or situations or cycles that come up in your life over and over and over again, or things that just don't go away. When we think about a cemetery, that's what it is. It is the threshold in the physical between life and death. Now, energies of a cemetery are a little bit different than, say, the energies of death itself. And we have to remember that. We are going to, yes, collect dirt from a cemetery that has the vibration of decay, the vibration of release, the vibration of endings and punctuations, yes, because that is what is there. And we have bodies that have been laid to rest, and then we also have, of course, all of the energy from, say, funerals and transitions and release going on there as well. Anything where you are looking to purge. And again, it's very, very powerful. Now, you want to be mindful if you're thinking about going and grabbing graveyard dirt. There are some folks out there who will employ graveyard dirt in everything they do. They kind of treat it like an all-purpose amplifier, and they will put it in their love spells, they'll put it in their money spells, they'll put it in everything. I do not do that, and, witnessing people who've done that, over my time as a practitioner, working with other people and just kind of seeing how their lives have kind of turned out and what comes of the spells that they do, I would never recommend doing that. The reason is that it's so powerful and so intense. Do you really want a relationship that is constantly going through the emotional extremes of constant release and transition over and over and over again, right? Think about what is in cemetery dirt, graveyard dirt. We've got the loss and the depression and the extremity of a funeral, as well as the decay, as well as the body returning to dust and the earth beneath the soil. That is not something that you want to be going in the background of your relationships. Same thing when it comes to your job or your finances. So for me, I do caution against that, and I'm open to hearing how, I could be wrong. If there are people out there who've used graveyard dirt in love spells and they have a perfectly happy, functional, emotionally balanced, safe, sane, and gratifying relationship because of it, I'm open to hearing, I'm open to evolving on my opinion there, but I've never seen it turn out that way. Same thing when it comes to jobs. So I would just be careful if you're going to use it for anything other than banishing, clearing, purging, ending work, any kind of transition work, punctuating work, because to me, and in my experience, it is used for elimination. And that is it. Whether it's eliminating a situation, eliminating a cycle, eliminating a connection, banishing a spirit, banishing a person, banishing a hex or a curse, or again, casting it. It can be an ingredient in some of those as well. It is not something to mess around with or add to every little thing. So how do you employ graveyard dirt and graveyard dust? Well, you would employ it the same way you would employ any kind of powder. You might use it to sprinkle on candles that you've anointed with oil, so it'll stick to the oil. You might add it to a bottle or to another powder that you're working with that you intend to get rid of and cast away from your property, away from your space, away from your stuff. You might add it to a bonfire. You might throw it into a fire with some things that you're looking to burn and purge. You might sprinkle it on or put it inside a pouch, a sachet, or even a poppet, or an effigy that you are planning to use to banish or eliminate something as well. And those are just a few examples of what you might use graveyard dirt for. It's intended to be used with something or on something that is going to be eliminating something else, or banishing something else, sending something away, bringing a situation to an end. And so I don't keep any kind of workings that I use graveyard dust with in the house, and even if I am burning it on a candle, if there's any leftover wax, I'm not going to wait to clean that candle. In fact, I've actually got candle holders and fireproof containers specifically dedicated to be worked with graveyard dust and graveyard dirt that do not come into contact with anything else that I have, so that way I won't have any kind of crossover of the energies or cross-contamination of the energies, and I will still cleanse and clear and wash it out to make sure everything is good there. So we are actually approaching the cemetery. And so for me, I have some rules when I go and collect graveyard dirt. If I don't know whose grave I'm going to be collecting the dirt from, sometimes you might collect it from a family member. I've never done that myself, but some people do, and that's totally valid. That's totally okay. Whoop. Kind of on a slanty hill here. You might go and collect dirt from somebody that somebody you had a good relationship with in life. That's not what we're doing right now, and like I said, that's not really my way. I haven't done that, but it's totally valid. For me, I work with Cernunnos, with Hern, the horned god, and he is also the leader of the Wild Hunt, which is of course also an army of the spirits of beyond. So I actually have with me, alongside me, my guides and my protectors. I have a very close relationship with Cernunnos, and we have, I don't know how to describe it, an understanding. He has actually sent a couple of riders from the hunt to come with me and escort me as I go and collect this dirt, for protective purposes. And he'll do that sometimes, kind of like a mob boss, not really, but it's like, think like a mob boss, and I'm like his secret boyfriend he keeps in his back pocket. Now, I don't collect dirt from graves themselves. Like, I'm not running up and like scraping the dust off of headstones, and I'm not digging dirt off of somebody's grave. I am going to be collecting dirt from nearby a grave, maybe neighboring a grave. And I always look for very specific graves. I'm looking for graves where the headstones have maybe been stemmed, broken, things are unkept. That can be a sign that the spirit of the person is no longer invested in their grave, or using their grave as a visiting site with their loved ones. Now, when it comes to cemeteries, then we could do a whole talk about cemeteries in another video. Cemeteries are very seldom visited by those who pass away and are buried in the cemetery. Usually with cemeteries, the reason you need protection is because of other spirits that are around, or maybe even poltergeists and thought forms created by, just all of the grief and sadness and sorrow, or again, wraiths any kind of entities that might be feeding on those thought forms or feeding on the negative energies of those who are grieving, or spirits that are there to sort of prey on, you know, that really vibrate with the energy of decay and death. So that's why you need your protection. It's not necessarily like the ghost of the person who's buried there is going to attack you. That's never really an issue. But, you know, shades, wraiths, things like that, it's a different story. So that's why I've got my guides here with me. And so we're just going to go and collect some dirt. Like I said, I'm not going to be collecting dirt from an actual grave itself. I don't know anybody at this cemetery. I don't have any kind of relationship with anybody at this cemetery. So I'm actually going to a much older part of the cemetery, back when this town was actually just a little old logging camp. And I'm going to be collecting dirt from there. Now, in order to get prepared for this, not only did I, of course, invoke my guides and some protection, I've also got protective tools on. I've got my rings, got my crystals, and I've also brought an offering. So in this bottle, which is actually where I'm going to be keeping the graveyard dirt, I've also got some spiced rum. Now, what I do is, before I get out of the car even to go collect my dirt, I take a little bit of that rum and I splash it on the ground before I even set foot in the cemetery. And the reason I do that is because this is me giving thanks to my protectors, right? The guys that Cernunnos, Hearn, has sent to follow me. And the reason I'm saying Cernunnos and Hearn that way is because some people don't know the name Hearn, but Hearn and Cernunnos. Okay, I'm using those names interchangeably. But I want to give thanks to the dudes who are coming along with me to guide me and be here with me, right? You know, it's like I could make the offering to Hearn, and I have already made an offering to Hearn, so he would actually, of course, help me out. But I also like to give offerings to the people that are showing up to help out. And so, not that he wouldn't, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, here we are. So I'm going to be splashing a little bit of the rum on the ground, again, in thanks, as an offering to those that are walking with me and guiding me. And I'm also going to be pouring rum where I'm going to be collecting the dirt, in thanks there as well. And then I'm actually going to add the dirt to that particular bottle, that jar. And that is because it is a spiced rum, and spiced rum and bay rum is also a very common magical ingredient and tool in a lot of workings. And so I like to add that power to the graveyard dirt and cemetery dirt as well. So whatever is left over from the rum will also be in the dirt. So we're just taking a little stroll. It's a rather large cemetery, and so I'm not going to walk the journey. I've actually got an appointment at the dentist that I'm going to after I pick this up, and so I don't want to be like spending half an hour walking to where I'm going to be going and collecting dirt. So we're kind of cheating today. Okay. So now we're coming up on the older corner of the cemetery. I will say, be respectful. Please, for the love of goodness, do not collect dirt from a recent funeral. I came here the other day, and there was a funeral going on, which is why I'm coming back here now. And I just, I decided to wait, you know. There was a big police funeral. They had a big caravan and all of that, and I was just like, not now, not right now, not this instant. So we're just gonna come around here. We're kind of, like I said, coming to the side of it all. Ooh, there's a stemmed grave. Maybe. Like I said, I'm not gonna be taking from the actual grave itself. I see it. I see the one I want. Right by that tree. There's one all tipped over. but I'm going to be near it. I'm going to go near it. There's another stemmed one. Okay. Yeah. There's another broken one. All right, this is our spot. All right, so first I'm going to be making my offering. I'm just pouring out the rum in thanks. And now we're just going to scrape. I like to scrape. I don't like to dig. I feel like scraping is a lot more, I don't know, respectful. You're not just gouging into the earth. There we go. And I'm just going to fill the jar from dry patches I can find around here, as dry as I possibly can. And that's it. Got our graveyard dirt. Just giving it a bit of a shake, getting some of the rum in there, and we're just going to walk back to the car. And now I get to go to the dentist. Hooray. Now, it is kind of wet, because like I said, we've had some weather. Mother Nature has been pretty unstable this last couple of weeks. And you can even see we've got some snow patches on the ground, which is kind of random because, you know, again, full spring. It's just how it is. But I'm going to get going now. Got my graveyard dirt. So I'm going to go and it's dry out a little bit, make sure that it's dust so it's actually serviceable, workable, and we'll be good to go. So thank you so much for coming on this little pilgrimage with me. If you have any questions about graveyard dirt, cemetery dust, let me know in the down bar below. I'd be happy to come back and talk some more about it. And, but yeah, for now, I gotta get back. I gotta get back in the car. It's a little chilly. See y'all later.